Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are going to be doing a collective reading and energy update for our beautiful collective here on YouTube. So I am recording this the morning of when it's going to be released. So this video and this transmission is essentially being done in real time. And I just came out of a meditation and a little bit of journaling, which I didn't do too much of this morning because I didn't have as much time as I usually do. I usually like to spend an hour or two really clearing my mind and journaling in the mornings. But today I wanted to come on and do this reading. So I did sort of a shorter version of those techniques. And while I was meditating and journaling, some initial messages came through. So first of all, what I'm getting is that I am picking up on a collective who feels as though they are wintering at the moment. And the interesting thing about this winter is it may look like very little is happening above ground. In fact, what I actually wrote down in my journal is that the wintering is the time when the external world feels frozen, quiet, and even contracting, but underneath, root systems are deepening, the soil is being replenished, and the next season of abundance is preparing itself. So I'm feeling that the collective I'm speaking to here is going through this internal season of spiritual winter, this time where things feel a little bit stagnant or as though they've slowed down on the surface. And again, this may even actually look like a contraction, even though it's a necessary season to prepare you for your next wave of growth. And what I'm getting is that there's some kind of outdated structure within you being replaced that was based in survival and conditional worthiness. So the sense that I've been picking up on here is that there was this old version of you and how you used to operate that was very much rooted in, I'm hearing, in some kind of fear, even if it was a very subtle fear. And it was some kind of fear of loss or some kind of fear of not being good enough, needing to measure yourself based on some kind of external condition or standard or validation from others, or I'm hearing even from like a system potentially. But what I'm getting is that you've expanded to the point where you're ready to grow out of this, where you're ready to really completely embrace your unconditional worthiness. And for some reason, this is reminding me of an Instagram post that I made the other day. And by the way, if you're not yet following me on Instagram, my Instagram is @Magnetize Yourself. I do sometimes post some inspiring text posts there, as well as shorter reel clips that are often taken from these longer videos. And I'm going to start doing more of that moving forward. But what I wrote down here is, well, this is specifically, by the way, for the divine feminine, which I know that a majority of you here on this channel do resonate with the divine feminine, but keep in mind that this can be widely applicable. So if you don't specifically resonate with the divine feminine, then that doesn't mean that this isn't your message. But here I was specifically speaking to the feminine energy. And what I wrote is, when the feminine truly remembers that her worth is 100% intrinsic. And for some reason, I feel the need to re-emphasize that 100% intrinsic. Then ironically, in the absence of needing any form of validation from the physical world, which, by the way, I really debated when I wrote this, replacing that word physical world, those words, with the word masculine, because the masculine is more connected with the physical world. So essentially, when she no longer needs validation from the physical world or the masculine, depending on how you want to kind of conceptualize it, her external reality becomes generous and abundant as a reflection of the unconditional love she's given herself. So it's very ironic here that, well, again, in this case, we're speaking in masculine, feminine energy dynamics, but we all have a balance of both of those energies within us. So you can take that however it applies. But essentially, the idea is when you no longer need validation, I'm hearing for what you're doing, maybe there's something you're doing that you've been seeking a kind of external validation for. But ironically, when you no longer need that validation, that's exactly when that validation and that confirmation externally comes to you. But it's not the other way around. When you find the validation from internally, then the external will mirror and match the internal validation and confirmation that you've given yourself. When you have unconditional worthiness internally, then the so-called conditions will actually align themselves in your physical world. And that is the shift that we are experiencing on a really kind of broader level here. But I do want to get more specific about some of what you could be experiencing right now. So one thing that I wrote down here is that, okay, this won't be for everyone, but for someone, I'm hearing energetic overexposure. And I don't know who that's for, but I feel like for someone listening, there is a certain group or platform or system or location, or maybe it's like a social media platform where you were showing up in a certain way for a while. And then I feel that you chose to like withdraw yourself in some way, or I'm hearing to cloak yourself. So you may have, I'm hearing, chosen to go invisible to that particular timeline, which served to make you more visible in what my guides are calling your correct timeline, which is such a strange way of saying it because my guides don't often come through as calling something quote unquote correct or incorrect because there's often so much more nuance. But in this case, it's like there is some kind of correct timeline that you are moving into. And the sense that I'm getting is that there is a previous timeline or group or place or job or family system or something where you used to show up in a certain way. And you used to be very visible and accessible to that place, that timeline, or those people. Maybe it's even like one specific person that you were available for in this way. But I'm getting that you intuitively withdrew yourself away from that person or that space. They lost some kind of access to you. But the sense that I get is that recently you may have tried to re-enter this timeline. I know this message is so specific, and I also say this a lot. I feel like I've been saying this more recently, but this reading is going very quantum. So I am setting the intention that it finds those of you who really enjoy the more quantum style reading videos. But what I'm getting is that you made yourself inaccessible to this timeline or to this person. Maybe you blocked them, maybe you withdrew your communication, maybe you just no longer were engaging with them in the same way, but somehow you withdrew from that particular timeline. So you made yourself energetically invisible, is what I'm getting, or quiet. And your silence and your absence was felt. It's almost like because you were invisible, you were more seen than ever before. Like you were invisible in some sense physically or from a 3D perspective. And that actually made you more intensely unforgettable to whoever this person or this group is. And so they were kind of reaching out for you psychically, and you may have sort of entertained the idea of a reconnection here. So what I'm getting is that you may have thought that something was going to be different. I'm not sure why I'm hearing those words. I thought it would be different. So I feel like you tried to re-engage with this place or this timeline or whatever it was. But I'm hearing something about how it's like this timeline is expelling you out of it. I'm actually going to be looking up the exact meaning of the concept of expelling in the context of a timeline, because I am surprised that this is the word that I reached for, but I feel it was very intentional. Yeah, okay, well, now it makes sense. The word expelling means forcing someone or something out physically, emotionally, energetically, or situationally. In the context of a timeline, expelling would be the active release, removal, or purging of energies, patterns, people, or circumstances that are no longer aligned with your current vibration or next level of growth. Ooh, and I just heard the message. You may have thought that this person or this timeline or this group expelled you, but it's actually your energy that was expelling it or expelling them, just depending on how this is showing up for you. And so actually your energy was expelling this timeline, this group, this person that you tried to re-enter, but you may have thought that it was expelling you. It's almost like you experienced it like you thought you were being rejected or you thought you were being pushed out or pushed away, but really it's your energy that has changed. That timeline or that person, I actually feel that I'm hearing they've always been this way. I feel like they've actually stayed the same. So whatever this is, it is still looping in the same familiar patterns, but you are the one who has changed. That's what I'm getting here. So, okay, let me look at my notes because I feel like, yeah, there was something else I wanted to talk about here. I like to kind of go through these notes initially when they come up and then kind of extrapolate and elaborate based on what wants to come up intuitively and also in the cards. Do let me know if you enjoy when I share these notes that I write down in meditation. This is something I literally just started doing probably about a year ago. And I really have found that sometimes it helps to create touch points in the reading to kind of like lay a foundation for what then comes up in the cards. I'm hearing something about free flowing, letting something be more free flowing. I mean, maybe that's a message for me from my guides in my own readings, because to be honest, lately I've been really exploring, especially in these collective readings, letting things be more, in a way, relaxed and free flowing. And it's scary because at times it feels almost more uncontrollable. It feels like there's less of a framework, and yet it feels also more powerful and more organic in a sense. So I'm not sure why I felt guided to say that or share that, but I'm feeling that for someone listening, you're going through this in your own life where you are being pushed to allow something to flow more freely or to be more like relaxed or natural or organic. And yet it could be surfacing this fear within you at the same time. Interesting. Okay, so I feel like we might revisit that later, but what I wrote down here as well is that you are entering a deeper era of energetic discernment. Yeah, so with this energetic overexposure to this past person or timeline or whatever it is, I'm just hearing like something is no longer worthy of your time, your attention, your energy, your access. It no longer serves any kind of meaningful purpose for your growth. And that is why your energy is expelling it away from you, and why whenever you try to re-enter it, I'm hearing there may even be some kind of backlash. Like for some reason, what I was kind of getting is like, I don't know, some sort of even like small physical backlash. Like for example, what made me think of this is it's kind of a silly thing, but the other day when I was eating, I bit the inside of my lip, which I know we all do from time to time. But it's funny because I felt like this was going to connect with a reading where it's sort of like can be an energetic thing. And I wonder if for someone listening, there is this sense that, it's almost like I heard biting your tongue. Interesting. Maybe that's why I wanted to bring up this biting of the lip. It's like biting your tongue, holding back from saying something. But the sense I get here is that you're meant to be holding back communication that someone or something isn't like worthy of or almost not ready for. It's like they're still looping in the same patterns. You've elevated out of that, and now you have something really valuable to share, but not with them because they don't have the ability to receive it And so if you try to share something they aren't ready for, it's just going to backfire on you. I don't know why that's kind of what's coming up here. Maybe that is somehow very specific to a situation that you are going through with a certain person or group right now. It's giving me kind of pearls before swine energy from the Bible verse, like you trying to share something valuable with someone who still wants to be kind of like down in the mud with something. Not to say that as some kind of insult to these individuals. It's just sort of a comparison of like, it's almost like maybe it's serving a purpose for their spiritual growth to sort of be down in the mud in some way and to be dealing with something that's like very heavy and intense and very 3D based. And again, that could be serving their growth right now. But I'm getting that it wouldn't be serving your growth to be getting involved with that. And in fact, your system wouldn't let you do it. You would literally start experiencing forms of backlash to let you know that you're not in the correct reality, so to speak. I kept picking up these messages about like feeling like you're in the correct or incorrect reality. And maybe it's going back to the idea that we've been channeling into around the collective ascension and how there is this massive split in consciousness, almost like a splintering in consciousness where there is one path dominated by fear and control and anxiety and rigidity. And there is another path dominated by love and abundance and sensing our own unlimited nature and feeling an unconditional acceptance for ourselves, but also for others. And I'm hearing that it's increasingly difficult for the timeline of fear and the timeline of love to converge in any kind of way. So you may notice that if you encounter someone who seems deeply spiritually asleep, let's say, like playing out in their lives, unconscious programs from the Matrix, living in a state of extreme fear or rigidity or control or harshness or conditional love, you may notice that it's actually really difficult for you now to really connect with some of the individuals who are still living from that paradigm in a meaningful way. It's almost like becoming increasingly more difficult. And at the same time, you're going to notice more of a dissonance internally anytime you dip into that energy of fear or that kind of like lower timeline. It's going to feel very unnatural to you. You're not even going to be able to stay there very long. Your system won't let you because your evolution is inevitable. Your consistent evolution is inevitable. So it literally wouldn't be possible for you to linger long in that timeline of fear or control or self-doubt or whatever that is for you. But what I'm getting, and another thing that I wrote down here is you're replacing a familiar survival system with a limitless abundance system. So I feel that you've been building towards this for a long time, and this could show up in many different ways in your life. But what I'm picking up is that there's some way that you used to operate in this world and it seemed to burn you out, but you tolerated it for a long time. This may be how you showed up in relationships or connections where you were burning yourself out to hold something together in a friendship or in a relationship or a family system. And for a while, you would allow yourself to kind of participate in that exchange where you would completely burn yourself out in order to be able to somehow maintain a physical connectedness with that person. Or maybe this is when it comes to your work, like you were able to force yourself to push and to control and to output really heavily, burning yourself out in the process in order to get some kind of material results or some kind of quote unquote success of some kind. I just realized I said some kind twice, but you get the point. So what I'm picking up is your system is no longer allowing you to do that. You are literally being restructured. What my guides kept showing me is like this complete restructuring of you internally, emotionally, energetically, and how this could at times actually feel really scary. It could feel disruptive because on some level you're aware that your entire system is, I'm hearing, collapsing, but also being recreated at the same time. It's almost like that deconstruction and the construction within you energetically are happening simultaneously. And that, of course, can feel really uncomfortable, but also what it's preparing you for is so beautiful. And that's kind of what I want to talk about here. I'm also hearing something about how you can trust where you're going and what you're building towards. And the energy that I keep picking up on is someone worried that they've somehow reached their peak with something, or their peak has already passed, whether this is in terms of how you've been programmed around the concept of time or aging, or maybe in your work, your career, with some kind of hobby or interest. There's this sense I've been getting from the collective of like, has my time already passed to be able to do that or to be able to succeed? Did I already miss the window? Which of course is one of the most uncomfortable feelings in the world, feeling as though you've already missed some kind of mystical window of time where you could have succeeded or could have made your dreams happen or whatever. But what I'm getting is whatever you've experienced in the past, whether there was a moment of success or there was a moment that you considered in the past to be quote unquote your peak, it wasn't your peak, it was a preview. So whatever this was, it was actually a glimpse into where you are going, and it's really only the beginning. The feeling that I'm getting is that you are genuinely only getting started, but what you're feeling, if these fears or doubts or whatever are surfacing, is a collective programming that's being released through your energy system. So we as a collective are transcending beyond these misconceptions and limiting ideas around timing, around aging, that kept us in this survival mode, that kept us continuously burning ourselves out, trying to get some kind of result and living in this sort of like conditional reality. We are transcending above that. And so if a lot of these feelings coming up for you actually feel almost foreign, like, wait a second, where is this coming from? This doesn't even feel like me. This doesn't feel like how I normally think or feel about things. Know that what you're clearing may not just be for you. It could actually be societal conditioning clearing itself through you. And because you are a light worker, I'm hearing you're really getting the worker side of that light worker word lately, because you're feeling everything so intensely these days, and you are really putting in the legwork to clear a lot of energetic residue for the entire collective. And I've spoken on this in recent videos, which I guess given what's coming up in this reading, it makes sense that we've been talking so much about how when you are a very energetically sensitive being, you feel everything first for the collective and you pave pathways forward. And I feel that is on a massive level what's happening right now, that you are feeling something for the collective and helping to lead the way. You are out here on the forefront of this new frontier, so to speak. And in a way, we could think of this as the 5D frontier, as you being kind of like out on this leading edge of consciousness when it comes to paving new ways of being, working, existing, loving yourself in a more 5D based reality, in a higher vibrational, more sensitive kind of energy space that we are shifting into as a global collective. And I keep getting something specifically about work and career, but also about romantic relationships. So these could be some of the major things coming up for you right now specifically. And I'm actually going to get into both of those in the extended version of this reading. So if you've been feeling a resonance here and your intuition is guiding you to the extended reading, then that is where I'm going to start. I'm going to be looking at specifically how you are paving pathways for the collective in your work, your career, but also in romantic relationships and connections as well, because I feel like those are the two major areas of your life that you are really bringing this new 5D energy into, not just for yourself, but for the collective consciousness as well. So the link to get the extended version of this reading is in the pinned comment and description box below if you would like those additional messages. But I am going to be continuing on here with the energy oracle cards. Whoa, a card deck just kind of knocked over there. So the card deck that fell over was the Rumi Oracle, and that could be a sign that I meant to be pulling some cards from there in a minute, but I am going to take a quick sip of my coffee first. So much has been flowing through that I don't think I got a chance to drink any of my coffee earlier in the reading. I was just really in flow there for a second. So hostilities reversed. Yeah, the message "make peace with the void" has really been recurring in these collective readings, which seems to resonate with that concept of wintering as well, with you being in some kind of winter season. But once again, I'm seeing the roots growing or deepening beneath the surface, like we talked about at the very beginning of this reading. And I'm really curious what roots are growing for you beneath the surface. What roots are growing for you? Adjacent possibilities. Okay, so these roots that are deepening are energetic and emotional, and they're preparing you to be able to embrace new opportunities that are going to be coming in. And I'm hearing they're going to be happening in divine timing. So there's this sense that the mind wants to rush these opportunities, that the mind wants to know when they're going to happen or how they're going to play out. But the soul is telling you, I'm hearing rest, the word rest, allow yourself to rest, allow these roots to be deepened within you, and you're going to achieve a victory. Yeah, with the victory card, it's like I'm hearing the breakthrough happens through rest and not through effort. So for someone listening here, whenever the conscious mind gets involved and wants to know the exact timeline, the exact way that these opportunities are going to show up, this may tempt you to want to rush the process. Yeah, it happens through rest, not through rushing. That's the exact phrase coming through here. It took me a second to download that. Rest, not rushing. Maybe that will be a mantra for someone. The breakthrough comes through rest, not rushing. It's so difficult though, because the mind is so tempted to jump in here and want to try to control the process. But I just keep getting the message of like coming back to your center of peace, and how that is the most valuable thing that you can do right now, is recentering yourself in peace and letting every word, every action, every movement come from that place of inner peace and stability, to not compromise that peace for anything, even when the mind is feeling triggered. And of course, this is expert level here. This is very challenging, because I do feel like these triggers are coming into the mind to make you feel like, again, it's like you're clearing all of this societal programming and conditioning. So those triggers and those fears may be louder than ever before, telling you that somehow you've reached your peak, or you're losing momentum, or if you don't do more, you're going to lose something or someone. And yet the soul is urging you to rest and allow the roots to deepen within you emotionally and energetically, that are going to support you when these new opportunities do flow into your life. I'm hearing something about not being able to go back. I don't know what that means. I saw like a mailbox and like a long kind of driveway, and there's this huge grassy area, and I think like a white house, maybe like a white mailbox too. I have no idea how this resonates for someone. Maybe this is describing someone's childhood home or something like that. But I'm picking up that there's some place that you can't go back to energetically because it's too heavy or too dense. Okay, this is very interesting. Let me reshuffle the cards here. I'm hearing it has nothing to attach to. Maybe this is a person or a relationship that you used to connect to from a heavier place, and now it has nothing to attach to. I got the letters K, A, I, S, R, and E. Those could be relevant to someone. What is this that you can't go back to? Broken heart. Someone or something that caused you a lot of heartache, a lot of grief. The Patience card. And this feels like something that's been in your energy for a long time. Someone that you've known for a long time, maybe even a family member or a family situation or something from your childhood. It feels like something that feels both nostalgic and heartbreaking, and something or someone that you've been connecting to for a long time, but I'm hearing that connection has been changing because of your growth in confidence. Yeah, with the solar plexus chakra card, the connection that you had to this person, this thing, this version of you, this place, it's been changing it broke your heart in the past, or it created this grief. This doesn't have to be romantic heartbreak, but it cracked your heart open in some way. And it's been connected to you for a long time, but your connection to it has been changing because of this shift in your identity. For some reason, I feel like this person, thing, or place can only connect with you when you're coming from a place of conditional love. I'm hearing expecting something out of it. I don't know if they're expecting something out of you that you can't give them, or maybe vice versa. You're expecting something out of them that never seems to happen, or maybe it's both for some of you. But I feel like this shift in your sense of identity has completely changed your relationship to this person, place, or thing that caused you some kind of heartache in the past. And that's why you can't return back to it in the same form. And I feel that when it comes to this situation, the mind has a tendency to want to ruminate, or to want to, I'm hearing, reflect on potentials, to like wonder what could have been or what could be under different circumstances. But the guidance here seems to be with the sacral chakra card to really stay focused on what feels good for you in the present, what feels aligned for you in the present. For some reason now, I'm hearing someone, it seems to be like a feminine energy, like a friend, a sister, a mother, someone, and they seem to be speaking with like caution, or like cautioning you in some way, or like speaking with hesitation. But I'm hearing they're projecting their own fear through some kind of like advice that they're giving you, or through something that they're saying to you. And I'm hearing the words running out of time. This is so specific, but maybe this feminine energy is making you feel as though you are running out of time, or they internally, well, whatever is going on, however they're making you feel like you're being cautioned in some way, they're projecting their own internal reality onto you. But I'm hearing that doesn't have to be your reality. And in fact, it isn't your reality, because you don't seem to operate in the same way as this person. This person seems to come from a place of like fear and control, like trying to control outcomes or control themselves. And I'm getting your soul is so dedicated to the energy of freedom. And I feel like, I don't know why that specific example is coming up. Maybe all of that is really specific to someone, or maybe you will take that just in more of a general sense. But there's this feeling that you are meant to be different, that you are meant to be showing the way to a different kind of freedom. You're operating on a higher level, I'm hearing, than most people that you are encountering, because you are the one leading in a way, like you are the one paving the way forward in this new energy. And I feel that at this moment in your evolution and in the collective ascension, you're being asked to trust yourself as that leader more than ever before. And so you've been preparing your own sense of confidence within yourself to the point where now you're meant to be embracing, I'm hearing, you know what you know. You're being called to embrace the fact that there are things that you know and that you understand, that you are paving the pathway forward in certain ways that you can trust, that other people may not be able to initially understand. But that's often what happens when someone is a leader. Often when someone is leading, people don't initially understand why they are operating in certain ways, why they are making certain decisions or doing things in a certain way. But I feel like it's almost like there are people or energies trying to convince you you're behind, or like you're running out of time, when you're operating outside of time.